Germany's announcement sending tanks to Ukraine could provide a big shakeup in the war with Russia. Germany approving 14 of its Leopard 2 tanks to be sent to Ukraine. Poland also requesting their supply to be sent to Kyiv. And U.S. officials have reportedly floated a preliminary agreement to send a number of M1 Abrams tanks to the region as well. So what happens now? How does Russia respond? For a closer look at that, I want to welcome in former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, William Taylor. Thank you. Good to see you again. He is Vice President at the U.S. Institute of Peace for Russia and Ukraine as well. Okay, so you could look at this a couple of different ways. One, it's a game changer. You send all these tanks to Ukraine, they're able to defend themselves and provide them more momentum ahead of the spring offensive. You could also look at it as an escalation. Russia certainly will. Where do you see the progress being made in sending these tanks in this decision from Germany?
Marni, I think this is a great decision, long overdue. The Ukrainians are trying to push the Russians out of their country. Ukrainians are trying to take back land, take back territory from the Russians. And in order to do that, they need tanks, they need artillery. Now they have the artillery. They need infantry. They got plenty of soldiers. Now they have infantry fighting vehicles from the United States and other nations. And now they've got the tanks. That's the third component of the capability, the military capability, to push the Russians back and out of their country. So I think this is a very good sign. It will enable the Ukrainians to mount a counteroffensive soon, probably this late winter or spring, before the Russians are able to mount another offensive.
We expect at the top of the hour that President Biden will address the American public and detail some of the planned U.S.'s involvement and sending in tanks from the United States, these Abrams. What else do you think is it important for the president to say right now at this juncture in the battle?
I think it's important for the president to say that our goal is for Ukraine to win. President has said, and other officials have said, that we will be with the Ukrainians for as long as it takes. And they should just add the next phrase, which is for as long as it takes to win this fight, to win the battle, to push the Russians out of Ukraine so that we can reestablish some order, some world where order prevails, where rules prevail. Right now, the Russians have shredded that order. And so we need the Ukrainians to win, and President Biden can say that.
It would be reflective of what we heard Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin say in the joint press conference from Germany last week. He said, this is about the world we live in, and it's about the world that we want to leave our children and those generations. We'll see what the president has to say. We've continued to see major packages given to Ukraine in the form of aid, $2.5 billion, this latest package. What is the red line that the U.S. won't cross when it comes to providing aid?
So, Marni, I hesitate to say red lines, but we have been very clear that we will not be sending U.S. troops into Ukraine. But we have made it clear that we support the Ukrainians in their defense of their territory, of their land, of their nation, of their existence. We support that, and we support it with the weapons that the Ukrainians have asked for. We have said that we're not, and the Ukrainians have not requested U.S. soldiers or NATO airplanes. They've requested the tanks, the tools. President Biden is providing them the tools that they need to be able to win, and that's what that's what the Ukrainians have been asking for, and that's what we've provided.
So much of this is about trying to figure out what Russia's strategy will be in response to the latest developments. So you're sending these tanks. It may take a couple of months to train them, get them onto the battlefield. That said, how do you expect Russia to respond, not just with rhetoric, but with munitions, with weaponry, with their invasion?
Marni, I expect them to continue to do what they've been doing, which is, first, as you say, respond with words. They've said a lot of words. They've rattled a lot of sabers, but they haven't done anything new. What they've done is continued to send soldiers, Russian soldiers, many Russian soldiers to their deaths, with little training, with bad equipment, with bad leadership, bad organization. The Russians will continue to do that, and they'll continue to lose.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.